Hello, you made it. Yay. I'm glad your eye stayed half open. Hello, Jaican87. Oh, I had it on mute. Yeah, it's a little bright behind me. But you can at least see me now. You couldn't see me before. Yes, she's keeping me company. She wants to be outside. She wants to sunbathe, but this is the best she can get. It's just kind of laying next to me. Hi, for the glory of Christ. How are you? She likes to be near me. What can I say? She's so cute. You can't see her, but she's got her hands up like this. It's so cute. She heard me talking about her. Pussy magnet. Yeah, I guess I am. She loves me. How's everybody this evening? I wanted to stream a little earlier, but it was way too bright behind me. Hey, Zellfire, how are you? Good evening. Things are good, things are good. Your internship is finally over? What kind of internship were you doing? Well, good for you that it's over. Oh, I should probably... How is this music good? And tool technician, school mandated, no pay. Wow, okay. So did that lead to a job, or do you have to now, are you on your own to try to get one? Post-COVID, we will all be returning to unpaid internships. No! I need money. My bangs are getting long. Is the music too loud? Studies aren't over. You could get a job there if you want, but you don't. Not the level you're aiming at. Okay, okay. Will you have to do another internship, or is that it for internships to get certified in tool technician? And what do you plan on doing with your tool technician license certificate? I'm not sure what you get. Alright, sounds good. Sounds good. I'm gonna re-attempt this puzzle. Today I'm gonna try to do this one again. Maybe tomorrow I'll get an overhead camera going. My phone is not charged enough for that today. There's one last biggies this fall. Gotta find a cooler place. I plan on making some money, then start my own solo operation. Oh, very cool. Well, good luck with that. I'm sure you won't need it if you're skilled. And if you like what you're doing, you'll probably do what you need to get to where you want to. I have foil ready so that she doesn't step on this. Hey, Saiyan Boo, how's it going? Good evening. So this is what it'll look like. It's 1,000 pieces, but it's not super huge. Maybe just because it's a circle, I don't know. But okay. It's bigger than this, but it's not. It's a little over 2 feet by 2 feet. So I have the space. You just took your second shot of the vaccine or of a beverage? Cats love boxes, hate foil. What happens if you make a foil box? Well, the cat might hate itself or its life once it jumps in a foil box, if it so dares to do so. Thank you for the good luck wishes, Zellfire. A little bit tired. Oh, and then after I'm gonna work on the puzzle for a little bit, and then I'll read some creepy stories to you guys, some supposedly true ones. So I'll be reading this time, so you can listen to my voice droning on. But that's later when it's a little darker out. Schrodinger's mood cat. It's a state of distress. It's both excited and depressed while in the box. That's a good one. It should be fun. Yeah, you get to watch me do a puzzle, and then once it gets dark, we'll do creepy stuff. I will be taking a break in a little bit, just for a little bit. I'm hungry and I forgot to eat dinner. But I'll just be around. I'll still chat. I might pop back in and out of the screen. But I'm gonna have something to eat in a little bit because I forgot to eat dinner. Probably some chicken. Or some ramen if I'm too lazy to make that, or a peanut butter and jelly, I don't know. Depends on what I feel like. I just gotta get the chicken eaten. If not, I gotta freeze it today. But I'm feeling a little lazy, so it might just be peanut butter and jelly. Ramen, like soup, noodle soup. The simple life. Yeah, I mean, I had something kind of heavy for lunch, so I don't want to do something too crazy for dinner. I had some leftover Polish food for lunch not too long ago, but I am still a little hungry because it wasn't like a whole bunch of stuff. Simple but not easy. It's instant ramen. You just boil some water, that's easy. And peanut butter and jelly is not hard, but and the chicken, I was just gonna saute it in a pan. They removed my, the other one that I really liked, the, F this S, I'm out. Oh, well, if you guys are wondering what the title means, I'm going to move over to YouTube slowly. So if you do really like my streams and you'd like to continue to watch them, I will share my channel with you. So that is my YouTube channel if you guys would like to continue to watch my stuff. And you know what? Maybe I'll upload some videos that are not live streams. So if you'd like to see maybe some more random stuff. Hey Thomas, how's it going? How's your evening? I'm going to make myself some food in a few minutes, so I'm gonna put a be right back screen. D-Live is way better. Well, thank you for joining me on YouTube for a moment. You're good. You just put stuff up and you scarf down food before tuning in. Okay, well, I'm about to scarf down some food in a couple minutes. Oh, you got 3 streams going. I feel special. I think I'll probably just have peanut butter and jelly. Seventh subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, all of you, for subscribing so far. All right. Give it a shot, whatever you're trying. It does. It's something easy to make. It's actually not jelly that I'm making. I don't really like jelly. A fruit spread. Peanut butter and fruit spread. Blackberry. That's actually what I'm having. I'm on TV. You know, I almost called it that, Haru TV. They all have a slightly different delay. So the peanut butter I got is some natural peanut butter with honey in it. Oh, weird. Alright, I'm gonna take my headphones off. I will leave the music on for you guys. I'm sorry to take a break so quickly into my stream. I kind of wanted to get it going before it got too late, but I forgot to eat dinner. I feel like the headphones messed up my hair when I did that. I have a pain in my leg, sorry. It's causing me to delay. I don't want to stand up until the pain goes away. Alright, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm gonna get some peanut butter and blackberry, whatever. But I'm going to put up the be right back screen. So I will be right back as soon as I can. Gary's right here. Sorry, I was eating. Let's get this puzzle started. I moved my salt lamp over here. Sorry about that. So, if you guys remember, I did already start this, but I had to break it up, so I'm gonna restart it. It is a giant circle. Alright, what did I miss? Did I miss anything important? The circle of life, yes. And continuously restart puzzles. Puzzle time with Haru, yes, yes. And I'll work on the puzzle, and then when it gets a bit darker, creepy stories time. Is the circle still a square puzzle? It is a circular puzzle. Sad reality, hello. How are you? I'm gonna take these headphones off. It's hurting my head right now. Let's hope I didn't mess up the border too much and I can kind of get back to where I was. It makes you angry that pizzas come in square boxes? I don't think it's very easy to make a circular box. Maybe you need to come up with a good circular box for pizzas. This is a lot of pieces, so I'm not trying to dump all of them out right now. I'm going to try to find as many of the edge pieces as I can. You're thinking pizza tonight? They should make pizza square instead. They do make some square pizzas. I think if you order the, what do they call it? Brooklyn style at some places. Maybe Pizza Hut or something like that. In Pizza Hut, if you order, They do have rectangular pizzas. If you get one of their like dinner boxes. Domino's has square pizzas. Yeah, I suppose a lot of places have them. Grizzly Ghosty, hello. You've only seen one Pizza Hut there? Where are you again? Do y'all have... Oh, Sweden. Okay. What's the puzzle image today? So, I have already started this one before, but I had to break it up before I could even really get it started, so I'm kind of restarting it. I really had only gotten the border done before, so I'm not really upset over having to restart it. Sweden, very cool. I'd like to visit Sweden sometime. That's very neat. You think you've got 2 KFCs? Have you had KFC before? I wonder if it tastes different than it does here. Here. Puzzle ASMR for you guys. Mod Pizza. I have never heard of Mod Pizza, Chef Thomas. Does anybody else know of Mod Pizza who does not live in Texas? Alright, I think that's enough so that I can just sift through them separately. This now is unintentional just because I'd rather see it up close because it's obviously easier to see when it's closer to my face. It's like Chipotle where they make your pizza the way you want it and it bakes in front of you. That is very cool. Do you know, that kind of reminds me of Kramer's idea in Seinfeld. Where it was kind of a create your own pizza. I accidentally ordered 3 buckets once. Was a mistake. Never again. So, did you just invite your friends over and have a big KFC party? Yeah, I ate chicken for a week. I was going to say the other thing is you could have had leftovers for a really long time. This goes to the back of one of those pieces. I don't think there are any more edge pieces, surprisingly. Not in this half, anyway. I'd be sick of chicken if I had to eat it for a week straight. Yeah, me too. That's why I asked if he invited friends over, because that would be my first option. Or family, if family is close by. So how is everybody doing this evening, if you haven't told me already? I just drove up and picked something on the menu, started to suspect something had gone horribly wrong when I got all them questions. That's funny. Are you sure you want 3 buckets of chicken? Yes. Are you sure? She asked me what I wanted like 3 times. I should have known. Sad thing is I got the same thing in all 3. Oh man, you could have gone with, what was it? Original, crispy, or grilled. You could have had at least a little bit of variety. You messed up a little bit. At least you learned from your mistake, I hope. In Bubba from Forrest Gump voice. I cannot do that voice, I'm sorry. Chicken sandwich, chicken tacos, chicken quesadillas, chicken pasta. Yeah, I was gonna say you could really spice it up a little bit there. That's what I like to do when I have too much leftovers of one thing. I had made some London broil and I had a bunch left over, so then I turned it into fajitas, and then I think the next day I turned it into quesadillas. And leftover turkey, and leftover pork, like pulled pork and stuff like that. You can shred things like leftover chicken and turkey and stuff like that, especially like dark meat, and kind of get it a little bit crispy in a pan, and then put it in tacos or quesadillas and stuff like that. It's really good. Alright, I'm going to take a break from looking through here. I don't really see much. Oh, here I found a few actually. Oh, and I think I found the one that goes with this. Oh, no, that's just... I mean, it probably does go with that, but that is not what I am looking for. I did find a few more pieces. Okay, now I'm done. Kitty and bunnies are doing very well. I was thinking maybe I might bring out the bunnies in a little bit, maybe before I start telling scary stories. I thought I heard Kitty a bit ago. She's around. She might be eating, or she went to lay down in the bedroom. But she was here, and she was laying on the ground. Oh, I already dropped a piece. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Okay, so let's find the proper orientation first. So that would be, I think, this piece up here. Yes, that seems correct. Now this piece is somewhere over here. This one goes somewhere over here. A slight meow, most likely. She does things like that. She is a very dainty meow, for sure. Getting a little dizzy for some reason. I don't know why. I'm gonna keep my head up for a moment. Chill out for a second. All the pieces are giving me a headache, making me dizzy. They're giving me vertigo. Probably. Maybe that's what it is. Look at it. Are the terrible? Thanks for following. That's what it is, right? Oh, I should have spun it. There we go. There's the... I can't spin it fast enough. Alright, now you're all hypnotized. Right? That's what it is. You're all hypnotized. Wow. I say I'm gonna take a break and I keep going. See, I've mastered the mind control aspect. How's it going, Are the Terrible? Akun Furkan, hi. How are you? Where are you from? Or, where are you from? Where are you from? I am from the United States. Yeah, I need to take a slight break from this. Let me have some water. Maybe that'll make me feel better. So I did take some medication earlier today that does mess with my blood pressure a little bit. That may be what it is. I would have thought it would have worn off by now. Yeah, the bunnies might be a good time to do the bunnies now. Let me make sure they won't mess with this too much if I bring them. So let me try to grab one. Move that so they can't spill anything. Your mom is going through high blood pressure also. Yeah, I hate this medication. I was just in a lot of pain earlier, so I had to take it. I'll be right back. Alright, let me make sure she can't nibble on the cord. Move that away from her. So this is Gamora. For those of you who have never seen her. She's like, I see something I want to chew on. Hi, NPC. Hey. Yes, this is Gamora. She is 2.5. Her sister is Nebula. For those of you who haven't met them yet. The bird gave kisses. Thank you for the host, NPC. Yeah, she's just kind of chilling. She's either really scared or really comfortable. Not quite sure. They don't like being really high up, but she really didn't give me much of a battle when I picked her up, so. I cut her nails the other day and she just sat there so good. She didn't give me any issues. I thought I'd have to like distract her with some food, but she didn't need any distraction. Right? You were so good. Yeah. Hello, Peabody. How are you this evening? Is Kayla Fujimoto, thank you for following. Yes. It's my bunny. Doing well also, thank you. She has a sister who looks very similar to her, but a little smaller. Guess I can try to give you a little. This is Gamora. You can tell her apart from her sister because she's a bit bigger and she's got a wider snout. She's got a cute little wide snout. Ooh! Ooh. What did I do today? I napped because I was not feeling great. What did you do today? You thought it was a cat? I do have a black cat. But she's just my bunny. I'm a little dizzy. That's why I'm holding the rabbit and I took a little break from doing the puzzle I was working on. Thank you for stopping by and thank you so much for the host. You're being summoned? Okay. Do you like 3D puzzles? Sure. I haven't done one in a long time, but I'm not opposed to them. Her hand keeps slipping. So I have to like hold it. Do you like 3D puzzles? You have wild bunnies in your neighborhood? I used to have them in my yard. I think I've seen a couple around here. I have domestic bunnies in my apartment. If you ever see a bunny that does not look like the other wild bunnies, it might be black or brown and white or one that kind of just looks like a pet. If you do see one like that, please try to catch it and bring it to your local like animal shelter or something because it's a domestic bunny and they cannot survive in the wild. Around here would be in Florida where I live. And just the medication I took for my back, I think, is what got me dizzy. I'm gonna go back to your sister. I'm gonna bring her back to her sister. I'll be right back. Okay. She actually did behave pretty well. I think she's getting more used to being handled. So that's good. Like I said, she gave me no problems the other day. Oh, what was that? I'm not really sure where that sound came from. Interesting. What do you do for work? Why do you ask? What if I told you I was unemployed? I'm not, but what if I said that? I sew. I work in manufacturing. Just making sure. Oh, you know what? I know why I have a headache. My tooth has been hurting me. I just realized that. I don't want to get too specific. I would say that they're kind of luxury items. For instance, what I make, a finished item, costs about $700. I think the lowest price is $500. So what I make is not small potatoes, I guess. Yeah, it's been bothering me a few days. And I think today it's just kind of caught up to me. So much for pizza, why is that? Huh, that's so weird. They're already closed? Yeah, well, I might need to actually just take some Tylenol. Hold on, guys. I need to take some Tylenol so that I can hang out for a little bit longer. Give me a moment. Put ice underneath your eye on the side it hurts. Ice, huh? Rona is apparently nocturnal. What does that mean? I just held some frozen broccoli to my eye for a minute. Lots of places. Oh. Interesting. Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay. Right, you'd think they'd just be open all night long so that you could maybe get more space between you and somebody else. That's how I'd see it anyway. Because you know what? I'm nocturnal. Hi, Power Pup. What's up? What you up to? Right now I'm working on a puzzle, but I'm probably gonna stop doing that for a bit just because of a headache I have. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope I do too. Yes, we are. Um, I'm still hungry though. I might have a snack. It's easier for me to read than it is for me to be looking down trying to do a puzzle. I will work on this though. Probably tomorrow. Because tomorrow is Friday. And hopefully I won't have a headache. A chic P, hello. I'm gonna work on this for probably 5 more minutes, and then we can get started on that. The weekend does come again, indeed, indeed. Just try to get a few more done at least before I pause. Oh, not quite. No adult beverages, not today. I've not really been having much lately at all. Not really. I don't know. Just kind of not really my thing anymore. I'll have like one. A month, 2 a month. I am working on a puzzle. It looks a little bit like this. Actually, it looks just like this. Just a little bigger. Maybe pizza or burgers. Oh, for me to eat because I said I was a little hungry? Or for you? I had a glass of wine the other night. For me to eat. Yeah, I'd have to order that, and I don't want to. Let's see. I feel like that goes there. Indeed it does. Can I fix this puzzle before the end of this live? No, because I'm going to take a break from this stream. Puzzle, or not this stream, but take a break from the puzzle, and I was just doing this until it got dark. And I'm going to be reading creepy stories. Probably do the puzzle on one of my streams over the weekend. Yeah, my head is hurting and I'm gonna read. It'll be a little bit easier than trying to focus on the puzzle. The days have flown by. All right. I'm gonna see if maybe I can grab a little bit of something to eat, maybe like a piece of cheese or something, and then I'll be right back. So you're only sticking around if I'm gonna do the puzzle? You don't want to stick around for the stories? Luke Crowell 11, thank you for following on Twitch. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can grab something real quick. I'll be right back. If I weren't reading, I'd be eating popcorn probably. That may have been a bad idea. We'll see. I just ate a bunch of dairy, so. You have returned? I have just returned as well. Okay, so what I decided I was going to read for you guys today is is the music still playing? Did it just end a long time ago? I'm so sorry if it did. My bad. You guys could have been listening to music the whole time. Anyway, sorry. So, I'm sure most of you know what Reddit is, and I'm sure some of you have heard of the Let's Not Meet subreddit, and if you haven't, it's supposedly close encounters with people, maybe like home invasion or kidnappers or stuff like that. So they're supposedly true stories. However, obviously it's the internet and everything is so true, you know? Everything is always true on the internet, so... Okay, so if it's new to you, then cool, then that's something that you've probably not read. I'm just going to read the top ones, the top rated ones, just because of based on popularity. They typically are the scarier ones. You've read some of the Craigslist related ones. If you have any stories like this that you'd like to share it in my Discord. Alright, so I'm actually gonna go turn off the lights over here, and then I'm gonna return, and then I'll get started. Your siesta time is 7 p.m. That's when I started my stream. Okay. I guess I could turn this one off too. Does that make a difference? I don't think that really makes much of a difference. Welcome, go away. You started just in time. Welcome to creepy, spooky. Hello, I'm Gordon. Hello, your name is Gordon. Welcome. I'm going to tell some creepy stories. It's other people's creepy stories, not my creepy stories. I'm just going to read them. So this one is tagged as plausible. I'm assuming that I don't know who adds these tags. It's called The Man on My Patio. So let me pause the music. All right. So, this one is called The Man on My Patio. It is by a user named Pesfy678. They posted this story 2 years ago. Warning, long post, but I recommend you read it all. Okay, so this happened when I was around 9 years old, 25 now, and it's something I will never forget. It gives me goosebumps to this day. I live in a terraced house, 4 houses combined, and my neighbors and I each have our own little patio. There's a small road 10 meters from my yard where people do all their Sunday walks and so on. Only a small fence separates my small yard and patio from that road. I live in a pretty crowded area with several of these terraced houses spread around my neighborhood, so seeing people walking on that road is pretty normal for me. Seeing random people standing on my patio is not. Okay. When I was 9, I usually got home from school about an hour before my mom got home from work. I live maybe 50 meters away from the school, so my mom figured I was mature enough to be home alone for around an hour before she got home. Okay. This one day, I got home from school. I did the usual thing, which was to make sure I locked the front door, and I double-checked that the back door leading to the patio was also locked. I was 9. Being alone was a little scary, even though it was in the middle of the day and only for an hour. I then rushed to my room upstairs to play as much PlayStation as possible before my mom came home and made me do homework. Can relate. While playing, I heard this noise coming from outside my window. Also can relate. That happened to me. It was really spooky. Maybe that's a story for another time. My room was located 1 floor over the patio, with a view of the road, with a view to the road I told you about before. It was kind of like the sound of a cat, but my cat had been missing for over 3 months. Hope sparked, and I thought, oh my God, he finally did come back. I ran downstairs to see if it was my cat. Oh, I'm sorry, it was a question. Oh my God, did he finally come back? I ran downstairs to check if it was my cat, but the sight that met me gives me goosebumps just writing this. There was a guy standing on my patio. A tall guy with black hair covering half his eyes, making him look like the male version of the Ring woman or something. Ooh, that's creepy. I could hear him making high-pitched sounds, almost like a cat meowing. A brown liquid was running down from his mouth. I could see him spitting out my dad's stomped cigarettes. He was actually eating from the ashtray. I was frozen observing this. I eventually snapped out of it and screamed so loud that the guy must have heard. He didn't react. He kept on eating from the ashtray. Oh my God, I'm about to cough, so I need to drink some water. Oh my God. I was holding in that cough so long. I'm still holding it in. I'm trying not to cough very loud. Hold me. Ew, that's really gross. Okay. I ran upstairs to my room, locked the door, and called my mom, who then called the cops. I've never been more terrified in my life. Laying in my bed under my sheets, shivering with fear as I heard these creepy, high-pitched noises from the guy eating cigarette stomps from the ashtray on my patio. Oh, we could hear him eating them, or is he just making noises? I kind of blacked out for a moment because the next thing I remember is the police arriving on the road in my yard. I hear them talking to the guy, saying stuff like, "What are you doing? Get over here, we'll come down there and arrest you," and so on. He didn't respond, but the high-pitched sounds were more frequent and louder. I decided to look through the window, feeling safe now the cops were there. I could see 2 police officers standing by my fence, one man and a woman. I could see the creepy man, however. I did not see the creepy man, however, because he was standing directly 1 story under me and out of my field of view. I think they just missed some words there. The police jumped the fence, and I remember hearing creepy guy screaming louder than anything I've ever heard before. He charged the female police officer with full force. He knocked her out cold. The male police officer then tased the guy, leaving him shaking on the ground, screaming still. The policeman struggled to keep him on the ground while putting handcuffs on him, but eventually made it. After a while, he managed to wake up the female officer, who seemed to be badly hurt. He called for backup in an ambulance, and he then sees me standing in the window above him. The expression on his face must have been something else, because he just looked at me and said, "I sure as hell hope you didn't see all that." I started to cry. By the time the neighbors started to arrive, wondering what the hell was going on. By this time. One of my neighbors, an elderly woman, made me come down, and she took care of me until my mom got back home. The police took the creepy guy with them in the car and left. Before they left, they promised to come back and talk to us about what had happened. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. The male police officer came back later that night and sat down with me and my mom to talk. He explained that the guy in the patio was actually diagnosed with severe autism. He had escaped a facility where mentally challenged people lived, located around 5 kilometers from where I live. He explained that the guy had actually been living in my house 5 years ago, but had been forced to move when his mom, his only caretaker, died. The poor guy probably thought he'd find his mom in my house. He missed the routines, and he missed living there with his mom. The police had to move him from the house that time 5 years ago because he was extremely strong, and from what I heard, he had extreme tensions in the body because of autism, making his muscles grow stronger and stronger throughout the years. This is the reason he acted the way he did when the police came this day. Still frightened, I told the police officer I needed to make sure this would never happen again. He promised it wouldn't. After a few sleepless nights, my life got back to normal. The years went by, and the guy didn't come back until 1 year ago. At this time, my mom and dad had moved out. I bought the house from them, and I'm still living there today. I was enjoying my morning coffee on the patio when I see this random guy stopping on the road by my fence. He just stands there looking at me. I look at him and give him a nod, and I hear the whole high-pitched noises. It's him. His hair had turned gray, but the high-pitched sounds made me realize. My heart started racing, and I instantly remembered the reason why he was back. I realized he must have managed to escape again. Because I kept my cool a bit longer than when I was 9, I started to realize how sorry I felt for the guy. 16 years later, he was back to look for his mom. I decided to carefully ask him if he wanted to come down to the patio. He instantly jumped the fence. I started to think he would knock me out like he did to the police officer. He didn't. He smiled. He looked at me and smiled. I offered him to sit down. He didn't respond. I offered him to come inside. He started laughing. We went inside. His face lit up. Pure joy. He was home. It reminded him of the life he had with his mom. It almost made me tear up. All of a sudden, he sat down on my couch, turned on my TV, switched it directly to the cartoons. I observed him for a while. He was completely focused on the cartoons. I just wanted him to enjoy the moment, so I didn't say anything to him. I realized I had to call the facility to let them know. The caretakers arrived 10 minutes later. After a lot of convincing, he got back up crying, and they went back to the facility. I called the facility 2 days later, and we made a deal. His name is Tom. I now consider Tom my friend. Every Sunday from the day he returned, Tom and his caretakers visit me to watch cartoons. They say it's the highlight of his week. It makes my heart warm. Now, several years, my thoughts were, let's not meet this guy on my patio eating from the ashtray. Now they are, let's meet every Sunday to watch cartoons, my friend Tom. That's kind of sweet. But I can understand the scariness of the sound because there was a facility like that near where I lived in Philadelphia, and some of the people that were there during right, I thought it would be a little bit scarier, so maybe the next one will be. That one had like a lighthearted ending. Ashtray, right? Delicious. Okay. I don't know if I want to read that one. That one's supposedly definitely real. But let's go with this one, because this one we don't really know. This one is by user Office Fern 007. This one's called Sociopath Kidnapper in the Supermarket Parking Lot. My husband and I were in the supermarket, and our baby was being especially fussy, so he took her for a quick drive, the motion of which usually calms her down. It only took about 10 minutes to settle her, and I was in the store, but unsure how much longer I'd be in there, and there's poor cell reception inside, so he pulled back into the parking lot to wait for me. It was an unseasonably nice day, so he took her in her car seat to sit on one of the benches outside of the store. He took a business call and had just sat them down, absent-mindedly rocking the carrier, when a woman, well-dressed, mid-30s, average height, fit build, approached them. It was not uncommon for people to ask to play with our baby. She's got big rosy cheeks, soft wisps of gold hair, and the most adorable gurgly toothless grin, especially when she's deep into a good nap. But her nap schedule is paramount, so my husband was preparing to tell the woman she actually couldn't play with our baby right then. She walked right over in their direction, brimming with nonchalant confidence. Before he could even finish his sentence, explaining she was napping and could not be touched, she picked up the carrier and started walking off. He was in shock for a minute, not fully believing someone would be ballsy enough to do something so sinister in plain daylight. So he said, "Excuse me, put her down," as his panic mounted. She remained calm this entire time, but when he called after her, she started walking away more briskly than when she'd approached. He ran full speed ahead and tried to grapple the carrier out of her hands, finally resulting to restraining her arms. This woman yells, "Help! He's trying to take my baby! Kidnapping! 911! Help!" Kicking him in the shin and pulling the pink bottle of pepper spray out of her handbag. Of course, no one in the parking lot was clocking the earlier interaction and assumed he really was a kidnapper, a lone man in a Deadpool shirt versus a tiny, well-dressed woman. Immediately, a man knocked my husband to the ground and was holding him down. He could hear bystanders encouraging the woman to file a police report, but she was doing a very convincing job of acting shaken up and insisted she just wanted to go home. To make matters worse for my husband, she was driving a minivan. He was in a raw state of panic, realizing the entire parking lot had banded together inadvertently facilitate the kidnapping of our daughter. He was begging and pleading with them, but no one was listening. They kept screaming at him that the jig was up and he needed to lie still and wait for the police and stop terrorizing a young mother. My husband finally had the novel idea to show him family pictures on his phone, but too panicked to think clearly, this manifested him of shouting, "I have pictures of the baby on my phone," which of course everyone interpreted as him either stalking photos or worse, inappropriate images of the baby. It was at this point that I can't entirely blame the man, considering what he thought was going on, kicked my husband as hard as he could in the ribs. It was at this point I was coming out of the store and thought he was being robbed by these people. I was yelling for security, so I panicked, my chest constricted, and I could barely get any sound out. Then I realized he did not have our baby with him. When I saw she was being held by a woman, I was relieved. I thought the woman had intervened to move my daughter out of harm's way while my husband was being robbed and walking to get her help. I couldn't find a security guard outside the store, so I ran to the people holding my husband down, waving my wallet, "Take everything you want, just let up and leave us alone." And one of the men holding him dead said, "Lady, we need him to wait for the police to deal with him." And I was so confused. Why would the muggers have called the police? I kept staring, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And made out someone saying he was trying to abduct that woman's child. I did not understand and was sure I misheard him. My husband would never hurt a child. We have 4 kids. If he were going to commit a crime bringing home another kid, it would be at the bottom of his list. I kept trying to understand what the man was saying, and suddenly it all clicked. I looked around for the woman who had the baby carrier, and she was halfway across the parking lot. I went into a ballistic tiger cub mode and literally leapt out of my heels, sprinted across the parking lot. I'm not a UFC fighter. I've never taken a self-defense class, so all I could think was to grab the woman by her hair and squeeze her throat with my other hand, which didn't do much. She was getting away even as I grappled with her. Amazingly, none of the other bystanders had yet to connect that my husband was telling the truth, with this woman absconding with my baby. I yanked her hair as hard as I could, and that was enough to make her drop the carrier. I was so scared and surprised that I actually threw myself on top of the carrier, covering the entire thing like a blanket. I stayed that way without saying or doing anything else. The woman left. Not one person tried to stop her, even though she was clearly leaving without the child she claimed was hers, which would be pretty damn incriminating if I watched this scene unfold. Within the next couple minutes, the police had arrived. After all that, there was several bystanders explained as my husband tried to kidnap the baby, my husband was trying to kidnap the baby. The police, to my horror, assumed that she must not have had bad intentions. The first questions they asked me after giving her getting her description weren't very investigative. They were questions thinly veiled, trying to convince me not to pursue charges. Ew, fuck, F that. Excuse me. Still placing blame on my husband. A small sampling of, "Do your husband and the baby look dissimilar? Is there a chance she thought he was abducting the baby and she was trying to intervene? Could your husband have been doing something inappropriate or violent to the baby that would make her feel compelled to extricate the baby from the situation? Did she seem groggy or confused? Could she have mistaken either of them for her own family members?" They spent more time verifying that the baby was actually mine than concerned themselves with the fact that the baby was not actually hers. My husband had called his brother at this point, who works for an office with a lot of lawyers and connected with one ASAP, who gave us priceless advice to get every officer's number and name and badge number, to request copies of the store's security tapes right away, and to escalate our complaint higher up to the chain if these officers weren't taking us seriously. Finally, we had enough reason to believe We weren't being taken seriously, and we went home, and both of us just shook and cried until we could get our other kids from school. My husband is seething with rage and grappling with the feeling of hopelessness from how little he was able to do, and how he has 2 cracked ribs from the man that kicked him. To the officer's credit, they did ask if he'd like to press charges, but considering the man was genuinely convinced at the time he was on the right side of intervening a kidnapping, and stayed to talk to the police and apologized profusely when the truth became clear, he declined to press charges. Amazingly and frustratingly, there were still people who stuck around to talk to police who were giving my husband dirty looks, and one man even implored the police to involve CPS to verify that it was really our baby. Parking lot kidnapper and parking lot skeptics, you better hope we don't meet. Right? That was a frustrating story. All right, I'll read a couple more. Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's read this person's. It was posted 2 years ago by Sharks Day. Oh, Sharks Day. I was like, what? They must be a big fan of sharks. This one is titled, "Had an incredibly frightening experience last night and wanted to know if anyone here has had a similar encounter. So last night I was at a classmate's house working on a group project we have due tomorrow. I live in an apartment in the town where our university is located, and my classmate lives at his parents' house excuse me, which is in the foothills just outside of town. In order to get to the house, you have to drive along a relatively secluded and narrow 2-lane road for about 5 to 6 miles. We started working on the project at about 6 p.m. and I ended up hanging out for a while after we had finished our working. So I left his house pretty late, around 11, and started down the road back toward town. I didn't realize how tough it would be to navigate the road at night. There were no street lights and the road was unkept and riddled with potholes. On top of this, I had no cell service, so I had to drive very slowly to make sure I didn't blow out one of my tires since I had used my spare a couple of weeks back. I figure I was about 3 miles from the house when I rounded a tight corner and I saw a pickup truck with a camper shell parked diagonally across the road. The manner in which it was parked was completely impeded my path, and I couldn't drive around it because there was a gully on both sides of the road. The only way for me to go at this point was backwards, where there was a pull-off and I could use my car to turn around. At first, I couldn't see inside the cab, but I turned on my high beams and I saw there was a man slouched over in the driver's seat, his head resting against the steering wheel as if he had been knocked out after a bad accident. I immediately sensed something was wrong. The way his car had just coincidentally came to a rest in that position that totally blocked the road along was a really big block the road was a big red flag for me. I had heard stories of people playing dead in the road as a way to lure unsuspecting people out of the cars so they could rob them. I decided F this shit, and I elected to go back to my classmate's house and explain what was going on. I threw the car into reverse and kept my arms darting back and forth between my rear view and the truck. I looked inside and saw that I was almost to the pull-off where I could turn around. When I looked back, my heart skipped a beat, about 5 beats. The man who had just been slouched over in the driver's seat was now walking at my car at a hurried pace while a few other men jumped out of the camper shell and started moving toward me as well. I panicked and accelerated backward toward the pull-off, which messed up the undercarriage of my car pretty bad. As I put it into drive, the guy was already at my passenger door tugging on the handle, which, thank the Lord, was locked. I only caught a brief glimpse of him, but his face appeared to be scabbed and leathery. Definitely a meth head or some sort of drug abuser. I sped away and didn't slow down until I reached the house, constantly checking my rear to see if they were following. Thankfully, they didn't tail me. And when I reached the house, I explained what happened to my classmate, and we had called the cops. I was grateful that my buddy's parents were kind enough to let me stay the night. Hi, Moomin. They didn't find anyone on the road matching the description, but I filed an incident report and they told me that they would be on the lookout for similar vehicles and suspicious activity. But I am still so shook up over it. I keep getting the same adrenaline rush I got when I saw the guy charging me whenever I think about it. So the top comment is suggesting getting a dash cam that records in HD. Alright, I'm going to read probably one more. I think my cat is busy sleeping. Next time she's around, maybe. Although I have a puzzle that I don't want her messing up. Alright, let's see. Alright, this is from a deleted user, so I'm not exactly sure who posted this, but the one day I woke up late may have saved my life. That's what this one is titled. I've told this story in other places and on other accounts, but it bears repeating. One day I was an elementary schooler. I was probably 3rd or 4th grade. I was awoken by my mom in a rush. She had overslept, and since she always woke me up in the morning, this meant that I too had overslept, and now there was no way I was going to be ready for school early enough to get to the school bus. If I recall, school started around 8 a.m. and my bus pickup time was around 7 a.m. and it was already like 6:40 or something, and I was still in my pajamas and hadn't eaten breakfast yet. So my mom decided that today we'll just tell the bus driver to go on ahead and she will take me to school, which would give us plenty of time to get ready. So I'm sitting there at the dining room table eating breakfast, still in my pajamas, and it's around 6:50. We hear the bus pull up about 10 minutes earlier than usual. My mom peeks her head out of the door in the foggy morning and waves the bus on. She closes the door and comes back inside, but the bus doesn't pull away. There's a knock at the door. My mom opens to find a man in a bus driver uniform. He explains that he's a substitute bus driver because the regular bus driver called in sick. He says he knows he's a few minutes early since he wanted to get an early start on the bus route. He didn't know it well. My mom explains to him that she was going to take me to school since we woke up late. He gets visibly upset and says that he can wait a few minutes since he's already running ahead of schedule. My mom insists that no, I won't be ready in a few minutes and tells him to go on ahead. He seemed angry about this, but turned around and got back on the bus and left. I returned to eating my breakfast and still don't have my school clothes on at this point. But at 7 a.m. sharp, another bus pulls up to my house. My mom thinks this is weird and goes outside to talk to them. She comes inside looking terrified, but doesn't really say anything about it and tells me to finish getting ready for school. At the time, I didn't know what happened, but my mom ended up telling me a few years later. When she went to the second bus, she found out that it was being driven by my regular bus driver, and it was full of the other kids that are usually on the route. The other bus was empty. By the way, my mom asked the driver about the substitute bus driver and him calling in sick. I never called in sick. There's no substitute bus driver on my route, he says. The driver immediately called dispatch in a panic and told my mom to go inside and call the police, which she did without me knowing, and report this incident. There was absolutely no one doing my driver's route that day. Whoever it was most likely a kidnapper who had targeted me. I never heard anything about it again, not even if somebody else had ended up being picked up by this mysterious fake bus driver. But chances are, had I gotten on that bus, I would have never made it to school or back home. And if my mom hadn't overslept on that specific day, I would have been on that bus. Yeah, no. Yeah, so that was a little scary. Let's see if there's maybe one more. Okay, so this is apparently about a famous woman. So this is by user LNM Throwaway 9, posted 2 years ago. So I think I know who this might be about. Maybe you guys could figure it out too if you've heard this story before. This person claims to have reached out to the mods to verify this story. They're claiming it's 100% true, and obviously it could be true because we know that this is a real person. A girl a lot of people may have heard about. She was all over the news. She stalked a guy and bombarded him with 6,500 texts, broke into his house all over one date. We met shortly after she went on that date with him, and we were friends for a while before she broke into his house. At first, she seemed like a nice, albeit quirky person. I met her when I spent a couple of months visiting the west coast of the U.S. in the summer of 2017. I thought she was cute, and we spent a lot of time together. We were living next door to each other for a few weeks, and we were never really more than friends. I stopped having any sort of non-platonic feelings for her after she talked a lot about a guy she met on some dating website. Apparently, he was her soulmate, and she somehow had been guided to him by following her birth calendar. I would later come to know that they had only been on one date, and he never spoke to her again. I thought that was weird, but I enjoyed our conversations for the most part. She was funny and nice, so we remained friends. Eventually, she moved on to MUTV. Thank you for following. Eventually, she moved on to short flings with a guy and then another girl from Tinder. All the while, still talking to me about this guy that she was going to marry, saying she liked how jealous he got when she would tell him about hooking up with other people. A couple of weeks later, she started to get really erratic. I confronted her a few times about how she was acting, and she told me that she had recently stopped taking her meds but would start taking them again. She came home one day and decided to tell me she had a court date coming up for a DUI. I have no idea if this is actually true, but there's always a way to find out. It happened in Arizona, and her name is pretty easy to find, so someone could look it up if they wanted to know. Her plan was instead to leave the country and go to South America. I told her that what a dumb idea that was, and even though she went all the way to the airport in a different city, she wound up coming back. Apparently, her soulmate was no longer answering her text, and she took that as a sign that she should drag her ass back to where he was and fix their relationship. She was upset that he may be seeing other people, even though it seemed okay to her that she was seeing other people. Later on, she told me that she had texted him and said if he blocked her, she would know that it meant he wanted her to come find him. Obviously, he blocked her. Obviously, that didn't go over very well. She moved a couple days later, and the summer was ending, and I moved back to the East Coast. I didn't hear from her for a little while, but we started talking again through text and WhatsApp. She seemed like she was doing better. She told me that she had found a roommate and was working on her art again, and just generally seemed like she was in a better place. I was happy to have my friend back and healthy, that didn't last longer than a couple months. Eventually, her behavior started to seem erratic again. She was sending dozens of texts at a time, and they were all over the place. Several of them had to do with her soulmate and how she was following him even though he had called the police and blocked her. I told her to stop, tried to get her to take her meds, and tried to reason with her 100 times. I was on the opposite side of the country and had no way of getting in touch with her family, who I never even knew much about, or friends, and try to get them to help her. She was a kind person and a good friend when she was taking care of her mental health, and I cared about her, but I couldn't force her to take care of herself. One day, I set aside some time to call her and told her that she was overwhelming me and she really needed to reach out to her family or someone who could help her. She told me I couldn't do that because she needed to stay with me or she would have to go back to her ex-husband. I didn't think any of this were true, but she thought her ex-husband was going to have her killed or followed, that he had an entire police force in his pocket and had paid off her family to give him intel. Royd MR, thank you for following, or Royd Mr. I'm doing fine, how are you? You're Royd? Okay, hello Royd, welcome. I'm just finishing reading a story about a stalker. Let's see. And had paid her family to give him intel on her whereabouts and what was going on in her life. I had just moved for a job and I lived in a small studio in a big city. I had no room for anyone to stay long term. And I wasn't about to do that anyway, since she was starting to scare me at this point. She asked me if I was still living at my address, which really freaked me out because I had never given her my address or put it anywhere online, and she wouldn't tell me how she got it. I asked her to leave me alone and told her we couldn't be friends anymore unless she took some steps to get better. Obviously, she didn't take this very well. I'm doing okay, virtual world. How are you? Oh, you said you're fine? Though I hated my tiny, cramped apartment, the reason I was drawn into it was because it had great security. It was actually on the upper floors of a hotel, although the hotel rooms were much nicer than the residence. And no one was allowed through to the residence elevators unless the resident had given their name to security ahead of time and the guest had to show ID. Okay, Spiky Trails, you are about to be muted. That is totally inappropriate. Why even say things like that? Even if you mean it, why? Just don't do that. Now I have to stop my story, and it's because I think all of my mods are sleeping. So I'm sorry, but because you are inappropriate, you will, yeah, sorry, but not sorry also. Yeah, I apologize to my other viewers for that. Really knows how to talk to people. Okay, so back to this crazy person who, which is somehow easier to read than what he was typing. Okay, okay. After what happened next, I loved my cramped little apartment because the staff kept me safe. It had been over a week since I had talked to her because I blocked her number and blocked her on WhatsApp. Well, thank you. I have more mods, but they're all sleeping now. And the ones that are usually awake are busy. Let's see, where was I? Back to the allegory of your life right now. Where was I? Okay, it had been over a week since I had talked to her because I blocked her I blocked her and blocked her on I blocked her number and blocked her on WhatsApp. She tried texting me from 4 different phone numbers using text-free, etc. But I blocked them all and never responded. I was walking home from work one day and I was sure I saw her across the street from my building, but it was storming out and I didn't get a good view. I rushed upstairs and calmed myself down in my apartment. Maybe I was just being paranoid. It's a big city, lots of people have brown hair and glasses. I'm just worried about her. But then the phone rang. The desk was calling to see if I had forgotten to let them know I had a visitor. My heart sank. I asked them who was waiting. They said they tried asking for her name ID, but she just walked out. I knew it was her from the way they described her. I texted a mutual friend from over the summer. I wasn't really close with him, so we hadn't stayed in touch, but he told me she had lost it and that he had blocked her too. Apparently, she had gone back on the dating site where she met her soulmate on and found somebody who looked just like him in my city. She was convinced it was him and had come to find him. This was a very touristy city, but there was no way this guy had coincidentally come out here. I'm sure she had gone bonkers, and I knew she was well aware of where the guy actually lived. I took a page out of her book and used the text-free number to text her that she should leave me alone and I would call the cops if she ever came near me or my building again. In retrospect, I shouldn't have contacted her at all, but I was emotional and not using my better judgment. She said she wanted to know if I could help her find something. I texted back really effing fast and didn't even try to hide it, then deleted the text-free app so she couldn't reach me again. I lived in a very crowded area and I knew she couldn't get into my building, but I was still scared whenever I had to take public transit alone at night or was walking through less crowded areas to get home. I had a friend who used to work for the police, but not in this city or at the time this happened, and she would drive or walk me home from work whenever she could for a while. She told me I should go ahead and report it even though they couldn't really do anything since she hadn't hurt me and nothing had really happened. But I was embarrassed, and again, I didn't use my better judgment. I felt like it was my fault for engaging with her for so long. I knew she was mentally unstable, but I would try to be her friend and help her. Maybe I gave her the wrong idea that I could do more for her. I ended up moving to a new city for another job and didn't hear from her again. I later found out the reason why was because a couple months later she had once again gone back to Arizona and had been arrested for breaking into her soulmate's house and using his bathtub. They found a large knife in her car. I don't want to go into too much detail about her stalking of the guy and what she said about him in her text because I wanted to try to focus more on my personal experience with her instead of his, but I could try to answer some questions in the comments if anyone has any. Yeah, well, I guess a former female officer walking a guy home. It still sounds nice, but not that one. Why wouldn't you want like a mutual relationship rather than a one-sided stalker? Actually, I was going to end it here. I already read a few. Let's see who this might be. This was 2014, it said. Or is it 2017? What year was this? Who was this? It wasn't familiar to me. Okay, so oh, I remember her. What's her name? She was definitely off of her meds. Oh, this was the puzzle I'll be working on this weekend. I'm pretty sure in the video, there's like, you can watch a video of her interview, and she's breathing pretty heavily during most of it. Jacqueline Ades. Charges were dropped against her. She actually sent over 159,000 texts to the man with whom she went on one date. It's a circular puzzle that looks like this. Yeah, you can see a video of her, and she's definitely like mentally unstable in the interview. OP Gamer, thank you for following. You can, I accidentally hit the wrong button. So the reason for the title of my stream, if you guys haven't already subscribed, I'm going to switch over to YouTube. It's gonna happen. It's just how it's going. So I'm not sure when it's gonna be, probably a slow kind of. But subscribe to YouTube. Oh, what? It didn't post to the D Live too? Okay, I'll have to go over to D Live and then post it. Yeah, hold on, let me, it says it didn't send to that. Did that post for you guys? No, probably not. Hold on. No, it says it didn't post to you guys, so here. Why the switch? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I'm just not really super happy with D-Live. You're funky, Pat? Okay. Well, subscribe to my channel. And send me a link to yours too. Or I guess I could look you up, Funky Pat. I don't want to be streaming on multiple platforms, and I'd like to move over to YouTube. It'll be kind of like a slow transition. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me on both platforms. My head is still hurting, so I'm gonna go to bed soon. I'm gonna try to go to work tomorrow. I have plans to be on tomorrow night. I will do more puzzling and more spooky stories if you want. If you guys are into that. But yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe over on YouTube. Yes, yes. Alright, everybody. You can get going. Thank you for having... I was going to say thank you for having me. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out with me. Yes, we can do... If you guys have stories, too, that you would like to share, you can share them in the Discord. I hope you all have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for the lemons. Thank you for all the follows and all the subscriptions. I hope you all have a great night.